Hey everybody, what's up? Let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me know. Let me know. I see y'all in here. Y'all gotta talk to me. Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. So sorry for being a little bit late. I realized that in my background you could see the hecticness that's going on. You see my daughter's toys and stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta clean this up. The part that you can see, I gotta clean this up before I go live. So thank y'all so much for being here with me tonight. My name is Kelly. I'm also known as the Spoil Writer or the Spoil Coach, depending on when you found me. My main home is on Instagram, but I do have videos here on YouTube that are free. And I figured, hey, I always go live on Instagram. Why not go live on YouTube and see how that is? So this is my first time teaching on YouTube Live, my first time. And YouTube Live's been out for a while, but this is my first time over here. So I'm hoping the experience is just as good. It's just as good. So tonight we're talking about 3 keys of quality lead generation. I've got my notes here on my phone that I typed up to share with you guys because I just want to make sure I don't miss anything because lead generation is really, really important. So, whether you're a coach, a consultant, a mentor, if you do some type of online services like a CPA, a graphic designer, any of those things where you are working either in a one-to-one capacity or you have programs or courses where you teach live with students or with clients, quality lead generation is really important. Okay, it's great to have people ask you about your services and ask you about, what you do, how you got started, your pricing, and all that kind of stuff. But when you get a lot of that, right? Because this live is for people who either don't get questions at all, like people who are like, I've had paying clients before, but I don't really get a lot of inquiries, or the only inquiries I get are from word of mouth. I don't get a lot of coaching clients or consulting clients from social media. This live is for you. And so what happens is when you are getting people asking you things or you're not getting people asking you things, it has to do with your lead generation. It's a lead generation problem. Okay. So, uh, there's a lot of specific ways that you can fix this, but tonight I'm going to talk about 3 strategies that's going to help you create better quality leads. When I say better quality leads, what I mean is people who are actually asking you questions because they're almost ready to purchase. So you're going to have more people asking you questions right before they purchase versus asking you questions at the beginning of their hunt for somebody to be their coach, or but rather than at the front of that journey where they're looking for a coach. Now there's nothing wrong with people asking questions, but you want to be on the back end. You don't want to be on the front end of answering the questions. And there are ways that they can get their questions answered on the front end that don't involve talking to you, right? That don't involve talking to you. So these 3 strategies are going to help you. So high quality leads are people who are either they're asking questions right before purchase, or they're people that are attracted to your content. They get all their questions answered by watching whatever you post on social media, and they just go ahead and go straight to the cart. High quality leads are people who actually do the work. As you know, as a coach, as a consultant, even if you're like a graphic designer, social media manager, VA, CPA, you know that clients, the best clients are clients to do the work. We're doing things for them, right? If you're in done for you services, you may be doing something for somebody, but it still requires some type of information from them, right? Like if you're a social media manager, the best clients are clients who actually send you photos for you to schedule on their social media. They're clients who actually send you their logins, like, right? So there's still, even in coaching, there are still some things that the buyer has to do. Thank you. There are still some things that the buyer has to do, right? Because we can only do so much. we're professionals. We're paid to do, a certain piece of the job, but the client has to really bring it home. They have to carry it over the finish line. Especially if you're like a life coach or a business coach, because in that coaching space, not done for you, but in that coaching space, that person has to be emotionally invested enough to actually let you help them. And then they have to take the information that you're giving them to go better their life or better their business or better their situation. So, leads are people who are actually ready, willing, and open to do the work. They don't fight you and go against what you say. Because some people will have money, they will pay you, and then they will go the complete opposite direction of what you suggest that they do, and you're just sitting there like, if you was going to do that, you could have just skipped the paying me part. And we're not just in it for money, right? Because some people will say, let people enroll in your programs and detach yourself from the process or the commitment. Or they'll say, coach people one on one. And if they don't do what you say, then just let it go, like it's whatever. But if you're a real coach and you're a real consultant or a service provider, you care. That's why we provide services, because we care. Services is in exchange of time. It's us giving you our experiences for things that we've learned because we don't want you to make the mistakes, or it's you coming to us for guidance and we want to help you because we like you, right? So we care. So quality leads are clients who actually do the work and they're ready to be coached, or they're open to being serviced and being helped. So the first strategy I have for you is a lead title. This is one of the really big keys to generating quality leads. A lead title and content that qualifies your buy. So if you have a lead magnet right now and you're using that lead magnet to attract buyers, make sure that the title and the content is very specific to your buyer. Somebody who would buy something from you and you'd be like, oh, I love that person. That person is amazing. Or you can think back, sorry, y'all, my lashes. Or if you can think back to a time when somebody bought something from you or they enrolled in your program and you had a really great experience with that person, you want to design your lead magnet around your favorite people that you've worked with in the past. A lot of people will call it the ideal client. I don't call it that anymore. I just say, hey, if you already booked clients, think about the clients you had in the past. Who was your favorite? And what can you create that's going to attract them? But it helps because attracting quality leads is about qualifying people, but it's also about disqualifying people. So when you use a really specific title, and when you make your content really specific, what it does is people that do not fit into, that ideal person that you want to work with, people that are not like your favorite clients that you've had in the past, they look at it and they go, well, I don't really think that's for me. And they just keep scrolling. And it's great because it's better to have a few high quality leads than it is to have a bunch of leads that are never going to convert, or a bunch of leads that are going to stress you out. Okay. So make your lead something that only your buyer would need and understand. If you have to make a lead magnet that talks over people's head because your buyer has more knowledge or their verbiage and vocabulary is different, then make it happen, right? Make it happen. But you could also do this by keeping the content of your current lead magnet the same. So if you already have a lead magnet, you could keep the content the same and only make the title super specific to who your ideal buyer is. So here's an example. You may have a lead magnet right now that's tips for how to not navigate the holiday blues, right? So, hey, here's how to deal with previous emotional loss during the holidays. That may be your lead magnet. Versus you can make the title a lot more specific and name it 8 tips for single moms to cope with holiday blues after the loss of their parent. Do you see how much more specific that is? If you had a client in the past If you're a life coach and you had a client in the past that you really, really loved working with, and you look at who she is, you look at that person, the real person, and she is a single mom. Let's just say she's a single mom. She makes over 100K a year. She has 2 degrees, and she struggled a lot with loss in her life. Like she's lost both of her parents. Maybe she's a widow, or maybe she lost her best friend, right? So that's why I say if you've already had clients before, it's a lot easier to elevate your business and go to the next level because you can just look back and say, who was my favorite? Out of the people that I work with, who is my favorite? Drop me something in the chat. Do you have a favorite client in mind? Say yes if you got a favorite client in mind that you worked with before, and maybe they didn't fit your ideal client description at first, and then you worked with them and you were like, I really like this person. Like, I really like this person. We're a great fit together. We do great work together. We made a lot of impact, a lot of progress. Drop me a yes in the chat. Awesome. Awesome. So that's who I want you to think about, right? She says, yes, the one who pays me and gives me what I need. Right? Exactly. Don't just pay me and run, because there are people who will pay you and run. And we have been trained. We've been trained to craft our entire marketing strategy around attracting people who have extra money to spend. But just because somebody has extra money to spend and they don't mind investing doesn't mean that they're also going to do the work. A paying client does not automatically mean they're going to be a good client. That's not what that means. There's a lot of people who have money, they will pay you, and then they won't show up to your meetings, or they show up to your meetings late. They won't give you what you need. They won't do their homework. They won't trust you. They want to pay you to be their coach, and then they won't trust you. What's that about? Okay. What's that about? I don't want people who are just going to pay me and then disappear and come back months later and expect their entire life to be different, because people do that. And that's the whole point of quality lead generation, is let's avoid people who are going to do that because they're just not ready. What it means, it doesn't mean that they don't need help. It just means that they're not ready. So if you can make your title, not if you can make your title more specific. Make your title a lot more specific, and then people will disqualify themselves. They'll say, oh, I'm not mom, so I don't think I'm going to download that. I have holiday blues, but I've never lost a parent. I'm not going to download that. So make that title more specific if you already have one, and just change your cover. You don't have to change the content on the inside if you've already got a lead magnet. Okay. All right. Strategy number 2, use an application prior to program enrollment or a coaching inquiry, and make that inquiry detailed. This is one of my favorite. This is like a gateway. Okay. When you have an application in front of your programs, like the application is required and it's long, that gets rid of a lot of people who won't do the work, because people who won't do the work won't fill out a long application. And when I say long, I don't mean extremely long. I mean like 9 or 10 deep questions. Most of them are not yes or no questions. Okay. Most of them are not yes or no questions, but 9 to 10 really good questions that may take them about 15 to 20 minutes to fill out. I would make my application as long as my homework is. So, however long it takes to complete the weekly homework that you're going to give, or however long it takes that you want them to take to either journal each week after they talk to you, or journal every other week after they talk to you, however long it's going to take for them to really do the work, physically do the work, whether it's writing or typing after each session, that is how long you want to make your application, because you're not just pre-qualifying them by what they put in the application. You're pre-qualifying their willingness to sit down and actually do something other than give you their credit card information. Make sense? So if you've got, and I'll answer that question at the end, but If you have, on average, you're probably looking at 25 to 30 minutes of homework that you're going to give in each session. Make your application 25 to 30 minutes long to fill out. And if they take the time to fill out that application, then they realize in their brain, subconsciously, they know, okay, this is not just something I can go pay for. This is an investment of time too, not just money. And services are an investment of time, not just money. So use an application prior to program enrollment. Or if you don't have a program, if you're just doing straight up coaching, like one-on-one coaching, then make your coaching inquiry longer, okay? Not just name, email, subject, message. That's what your website gives you. That's what all basic forms have: your name, your email or your phone number, a subject, and a message. Longer than that, okay? 9 to 10 questions. Here's how you figure out what your questions are going to be. And I'll give you some examples at the end, but this is how you figure out. Ask everything you would need to know in order to qualify that they are indeed a good fit for your program. So anything you would ask them on a discovery call, put that inside of your application. Anything you would ask them on a discovery call, or anything else, okay? Anything else that would help you qualify them to be a good fit for your program. So anything you can ask them that's going to reveal to you whether that person is similar to your favorite client that you used to have. So if your favorite client that you used to have, let's go with the same example. She was a mom, she's a single mom, she lost a parent, she has 2 degrees, whatever, right? You may not want to say, have you lost a parent? Yes or no. You may want to say something like, have you experienced loss in your life, and how does that affect your ability to keep going day to day? So that turns it into a question where they've got to respond with it, a paragraph. And don't think about it as, I don't want to make a long application because these people are busy. They don't really have time to do that. If they're too busy to fill out their application, they're going to be too busy to do the work that you need them to do to get the transformation that they signed up for. People are busy for what they want to be busy for. Busy, that word. Busy, don't have enough time. It's a priority thing. Everybody's busy. We got kids, or you don't have kids and you have a job, or you have a job and you've got a pet, and pets are just as needy. They just don't have verbal attitudes like kids do. Like we've all got families. We've got things to do. We've got things to do. So everybody is busy, but what happens when you're busy is you go through everything that you really want to do and you prioritize what gets done first, all the way down to what gets done last. And then there's some stuff that just doesn't get done because it's just not possible. But that's how busy works. So if the homework you give your client ends up being something that doesn't get done, that means, yes, that person may have been busy, but they prioritized something else over what you gave them. And that's somebody who's not ready to be a client. You want somebody who's ready to prioritize getting a result. Those are the best people to work with. So ask everything you would need to know in order to qualify that they are indeed a good fit for your program. And two, to make sure they're serious about joining your program. So like I said, somebody who takes the time to fill out an application, they're more serious, okay? Make your application questions in depth and not just yes or no. You can tell by the way somebody fills out an application whether they're a good fit for your program or not. Who's in here right now that uses applications? Who uses applications in front of their programs right now? That's in the chat. Anybody? I thought I saw somebody that said they use applications. Awesome. Okay, great. So with your applications, right? For those of you guys who said, yes, I use applications in my process. When somebody fills out an application, you can tell, right? Like you can look at, there are some people that fill out an application and the questions are not yes or no. and their answers are short. It's like, how do you feel about being an entrepreneur and has it affected your life? And they're like, I don't know. And you're like, have you experienced, the question on application says, have you experienced great loss in your life? And how does that affect you emotionally in front of your kids? And their question's like, it's okay. I mean, their answer's like, it's okay. When you have those deeper level questions and people fill out your application with one word answers or they're super short with you, that's an indication that that person is not ready. I don't care if you go get to the bottom of my application and you say, I have $10,000 to invest right now. If those answers on that application are not answered in depth and they're not taking it seriously, and like Jasmine said, they answer so bland and unenthused, you are not my ideal client. I do not want your $10,000 because that $10,000 is going to come with some handcuffs attached to it. And I'm going to be chained to you, dragging you through the fire, trying to get you to change your own life that you asked me to help you change. I'm not doing that. I'm not signing up for that. It's not worth it. It's not worth the $10,000. So not only do those people don't do the work, they also tend to, at the end, want their money back after you've done all the work, and they give you a headache. So when you're looking at your application submissions, make sure, when you're looking at your application submissions, make sure, sorry, y'all, hold on a second. Make sure that you're only accepting people who have actually answered those questions deeper. You can tell where somebody's head is at based off of how they answer those questions. And that's what I love most about using an application prior to my programs, and even using like a longer inquiry form on my website. Like, I don't want to fill through. I saw someone say, I get too many inquiries. Oh, yes, I get too much. I don't want ready to buy. I love y'all, and I understand that everyone doesn't come to you ready to buy, right? Everybody doesn't come to you ready to buy, but they do want their questions answered, and that's cool. There are other ways you can do that. You can give people a frequently asked questions page, right? You can take the time to make a frequently asked questions page that's detailed, that has a lot of your frequently asked questions on it. You can make sure that you answer a lot of questions and that your sales page is super detailed. You can make sure that you have answered questions with your content. So that way people can still get their questions answered. They don't need to, a lot of the questions that people are asking, they don't need to come to you to ask those questions. They could have read that on a sales page somewhere, or they could have read that on a post somewhere. It's not necessary that they ask you live, right, in person, or ask you live through the direct messages. It's not necessary, okay? I see your question, Laura. I'm going to answer in just a second. I'm on the last strategy. So the last key of quality lead generation is go deeper with your attraction content. Go deeper with your content. I talked about this to my close friends today. The deeper you are with your content, the more quality of leads you are going to attract. Social media goes against depth. It just does. Social media is designed for very short attention span. It's designed to keep you laughing. It's designed to play on your emotions and be very, very quick and very short, right? So anything that's in depth, anything that's detailed, anything that takes time to process is gonna go against the social media algorithm. It's just the way it is. People don't get on Instagram saying, I'm looking, not consciously, they don't get on Instagram saying, I'm looking for somebody who's going to change my life today. They get on Instagram thinking, I want to feel a little bit better. I'd like to laugh today. I want to become a little bit more, self-aware. I like to look at my horoscope. They get on Instagram thinking that. Then they find you, I'm talking about if you're a life coach, then they find you and it's like, whoa, maybe I do need this. And they start to consume your content. When you create content that is more in depth, you are going to get less likes. And that's the conversation I had with myself today. It's time for me to go back to creating content that's a little bit deeper. I love my lighthearted reels, right? But it's time to go back to content that's a little bit deeper because I'm trying to attract higher quality leads. Because what I got coming in 2022 is going to require me to have clients that are ready to do the work because I'm about to go all out for my clients more than I ever have. And I can't do that if that person's not as committed as I am committed. It's like being in a relationship where you love the person more than they love you. And that's what happens when your content is too light. You get into a relationship where you want to help people more than they want to be helped. Okay. You want to help people more than they want to be helped. And no offense to people who do a lot of reels. I do a ton of reels. I love them. They're fun, right? But reels are so short and so lighthearted, and you can only put so much in a caption that you might not be attracting quality leads. You can, but guess what? You attract with reels. What happens is this is how it works with reels and marketing. You attract as many people as you possibly can. You make that title for your reel super specific, or those tips for your reel super specific, and then you direct them towards the link in your bio where they can fill out an application, and that screens them, where they can download a lead magnet, and that screens them. But it's not the reel itself. It's off of social media where you're screening people and separating the lookers from the buyers and people who are serious from people who are not serious. Because if you just lean into the social media strategy and there's no off social media strategy for lead generation and attracting quality leads, because you can attract a whole bunch of people, but they're not all good clients, right? We clearly talked about that. Y'all done had some hellion clients. I could tell by the comments. Somebody said, Lakeisha said, they'll end up being a nightmare client, not just a bad client, a nightmare client. Like, I hope I never work with somebody like that ever again. You got to qualify them off of social media. Okay. So you got to go deeper with your attraction content. If you see someone whose prices are 3 figures and you want to charge 4 figures, your free content is going to need to be better and deeper. And I'm going to give you an example. So this may mean more detail, more useful, and giving away a few good things that are so helpful that people think they should have paid for them. When you start creating posts on social media and you're like, dang, I don't know if I want to make this a post on social media. I might want to charge for this. Make it a post on social media and put a really good caption, a really good call to action at the end, and you're going to attract quality clients. Go deeper. Everybody on social media is so surface that it's hard to come by people who go deeper, people who talk a lot about their experiences, people who have more detailed content, not just quotes, but it may be the quote and then a story about something they've experienced with that quote, and maybe a couple of tips of how you can apply this quote to your life and use the experience that they went through to better your own life. That's deeper level content. Those people are people who have higher quality clients, and guess what? Their programs probably cost more, and guess what? People pay it. People pay it because they know there's more there. If you put up a quote that says the average millionaire has 7 streams of income, okay, that's surface. Anybody can copy and paste that quote. Now, if you put up a carousel, this is why I like carousels so much, and you'll see carousels a lot. It gives you the chance to be able to take your buyers through a story and tell a story without putting everything on one post and it being overwhelming. That's why people use carousels, and that's why people love carousels. So if you put in a carousel, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income, but that doesn't mean you have to have 7 businesses. Here's the 7 ways that I bring in income consistently as a business coach. And they're listed in the order of importance for me, and it may differ for you. If you make a post like that, that's a little bit deeper. And the person who's going to like, save, and share that post is somebody who's thinking a little bit farther than, 7 streams of income, 7 businesses. You've eliminated the person who wants to start a bunch of different businesses. You're now looking at somebody who's focused. You're now looking at that new post is now attracting somebody who has a business and wants to diversify their income. They're not interested in starting another business. They're interested in taking what they already have, the work that they've already done, and taking it to the next level with different streams. And they can tell from a post that they can tell that you can coach them through it because you've done it. You're showing the proof. These are my 7 streams. And they can probably click the link in your bio and go see those 7 streams in action. They can see them on your sales page. They can see them on your shop page. They can see you talking about them on your timeline. They can see all of that. So make that content a little bit deeper. When you put more words on your content, it's going to be harder to get a lot of likes because Instagram doesn't like when you put a whole bunch of words on your content. But diagrams, I'm a diagram addict. I love posting diagrams and charts and all of this. And they will rarely get over 100 likes. But out of those 100 likes, 90 something of them will be saved. And what that says to me is these 90 something people are seriously potential clients, these 90 something people. And 90 serious clients is more money than 45,000 not serious clients, or 44,100 not serious clients, right? It's the facts, okay? 100 people paying $2,000 for a program is $200,000. That $200,000 is more than the other 44,000 people just liking and commenting and not doing anything. So think about it that way. So make that content a little bit deeper. Just realize that when you're making it a little bit deeper, you're probably going to get less likes, but your saves are going to be higher. That's what you need to be looking at. Your saves and your shares are going to be higher. Your likes are going to take a huge dip. Okay. Now, if your likes are low and your saves are low in comparison to your previous posts, then it's just not good. It's not the right content. It's not the right content for your audience. That's how you can tell if you're posting the right stuff or not, for who you want to attract. So like if you're posting stuff right now, let's say you have paying clients, you're posting stuff right now, but you know, I'm about to raise my price, or the price is going up in 2022, or I'm about to redesign my services, or I'm about to revamp my whole business. We're about to take it to the next level, because this is that time of year where people are like, I'm feeling like I've been sleeping on myself a little bit, and I'm not okay with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take everything I learned this year, and we're going to take that, digest it, and strategize so that next year is twice as much money, twice as many clients, twice as much impact, events that are twice the size, online or in person, experiences that are a lot higher quality. And for a lot of us, you're going from charging 3 figures for a program to charging 4 figures for a program. It used to be less than $1,000 to work with you. Now it's more than $1,000 to work with you. Okay. So when you're about to go through that type of transformation, or you're going through that type of transformation, and you're looking at your analytics on social media, the most important thing is to look at your saves and your shares. Now, the sucky thing is that when somebody saves it, you can't see who it is. You can't see who it is. But you can still measure the quality of the content. So post. This is the great thing about posting every day. And the reason why I post so much is because it's market research. I'm posting because I'm testing shit. Like I'm testing out content. I'm testing out program ideas. I'm testing out all that stuff that we write down in journals. I'm testing it constantly every single day. And that is why I post so much. Everybody don't see everything. So it's not like people are like, oh, this is too much. If they do think it's too much, they'll leave. And guess what? That's not my ideal client, because my ideal client is somebody who's hungry. And hungry people don't get satisfied quickly. It takes some time. It takes some time. So They're in the business of consuming until they figure out who their coach is. And then when they do, they're ready to pay. That's my person. That's most people. They consume, 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 consume until they have enough information to make a decision, and then they're ready to pay. What you want is for them to be consuming, consuming, consuming from you, so that when they're ready to pay, they're thinking about you and not somebody else, because they've consumed most of their information that they needed to make a decision, not information they needed to see a transformation, information they needed to make a decision on whether they are ready for that transformation. So when we say show up, it's not show up because people need to see you being consistent. No, show up because people are constantly looking for coaches and consultants and mentors and service providers. They are constantly looking for people who do exactly what you do. And they're on social media consuming that information. They need to make a decision. They know they know they're not going to get good clients, good quality clients that we're talking about. They know they're not going to get what they need for free on social media. They just need to figure out, based off of social media, who has what they need before they spend the money. Because they probably already spent the money before with somebody and it didn't work out well because they didn't do enough research. So now they're back to social media doing deeper research, trying to find out if you're that person. So give them all the information they need to know to make an educated decision. All right. So make sure that, and this is a bonus right here, right? Because we've got those 3 strategies. So the first one is to make your lead title something that qualifies your buyer. So make your lead title very, very specific. The second strategy is use an application prior to your program enrollment, or use a longer coaching inquiry form. And the third tip is to go deeper with your attraction clients. So be more specific with your content, more detailed. Here's a bonus. In the caption of your social media posts for lead generation, you should always answer the question, why should I care? And follow that up with a call to action. So tell people why they should care, and then immediately after, the call to action. So if you're sharing with them, these are 3 ways you can deal with stress during the holidays, right? If you're a life coach and you're sharing, these are 3 ways to deal with stress during the holidays. At the end of that caption, you need to put why they should care. You need to put why they should care and follow it up with a call to action. So for example, it may be, and you could say, you should care because, like, if you just want to be straightforward, I'm kind of a straightforward person, but I'm also a copywriter. So sometimes I do hide my straightforwardness inside of my copy. But you could be straightforward and say, write a whole caption about stress during the holidays. And at the end and say, you should care because stress kills people. You should care because stress raises your blood pressure. And then immediately say, click the link in my bio if you want to learn a little bit more about this. And from there, they can go to your website or your blog, or they can go straight into the coaching inquiry. It depends on what they know they're ready for personally. But make sure you include in your caption why they should care. Bray is in here. You do a whole caption if she's a stylist, and a stylist and business operations. She's transitioning. So in the caption, why should they care? If you don't get your business operations together, and you could say, if this doesn't happen, if you don't invest in this, if you don't start taking this seriously, this is the cause, this is the effect, and then put a call to action, right? If you don't invest in your business operations, you're going to hit a wall and you're not going to be able to grow past a certain point. Click the link in my bio to get started. People have to know, like, there's so much going on in the world. We are constantly on our phones texting people. We're scrolling through social media. We're watching TV. People are asking for things from us. We're taking care of our kids. We're running from this errand to this errand to this errand, especially during the holidays, that we need people to tell us, What is in it for us so that we can make a decision? Sometimes you have to just tell people because that's what we're all thinking. What's in it for me? And we all know what's in it for them. There is a major transformation, business wise, and a major transformation, life wise, on the other side of our programs, on the other side of our courses, on the other side of our coaching. There is a major life change. And we want people to be living that better life and having that better business. So we have to tell them what's in it for them. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back and answer some questions. I saw some. Let's see. Can you tell us some important questions to ask? I like to ask people, now you guys know I'm a business coach. I'm also a service provider. I have an agency where we do done for you work. So we build out people's landing pages, sales pages, email marketing system. I do one-on-one calls where I help people map out their programs, all that kind of stuff, right? So I like to ask questions like, what are your goals for the next 90 days? What do you believe has been your biggest challenges thus far? I like to ask people, do you have any social media? And this is what I usually ask on the phone, but do you have anybody on social media that is an inspiration to you? Or that you go and you look at their page and you say, wow, I really wish I could do that. I ask people that question. And I know everybody has taught us, like, don't do comparison syndrome, don't compare yourself to people. And every time I ask that question, somebody says, well, I don't really do the comparison thing. Sis, you ain't got a lot of me. I do it. I'm not saying compare yourself and let that stop you from running your business, but we all have pages that we go to for motivation. It's not always just because you go look at somebody else's page doesn't make it comparison syndrome. Sometimes you just want to be motivated. And there are people that are farther ahead in business than you are, or they're farther ahead in life than you are, and you go to their page because you want to be motivated. Sometimes competition can be healthy. Like, it doesn't have to be, all competition is not toxic. So those are some of the questions that I ask. Let's see. Laura asked, have you ever run into a client that did answer in depth but still was a poor fit? Yes, I have had a client before that answered all the questions and was still a bad fit. My suggestion is to know your red flags. Like, all of us have our own red flags. For me, it was they answered all the questions, and then they sent a follow-up email that was like a whole story about previous experience, a previous bad experience that they had, or previous coaches that they were talking to, like at the moment. So you kind of have to know like the red flags. That was a red flag. I like told myself wasn't a red flag, and I knew subconsciously that it was. And this is a red flag for anybody who's a coach or a service provider. When somebody comes to you and they are going out of their way to extensively tell you about bad experiences that they previously had, and it seems like they are still emotionally attached, that's somebody that you probably do not want to work with. Okay. Now, we've all had previous bad experiences. I had previous bad experiences. I think that people see me on social media talking about bad experiences and they think that I'm shading people. I'm talking about it because it happened to me too. And it's fucking relatable. That's why I'm talking about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I had somebody say that to me today. How come all your content is about talking bad about other people? I don't talk bad about other people. I'm just trying to help y'all not make the mistakes that I made. If I was talking about bad about other people, I would be atting people, okay? But I don't do that. Anyways, it is, if they've had a previous bad experience, that's normal. Everyone has bad experiences. But if it seems like they're still emotionally in that, you don't want to work with that person because they haven't let go of that bad experience. And so you don't want to like get into people's emotional mess. It's just like when you're dating, okay? Like, finding quality clients and fielding like leads is the same thing as dating. If you go on a date with somebody and all they're talking about the entire dinner is like things that their ex has done to them or how people have done them wrong in the past, I'm not dating you. Like, you still have some issues you need to figure out. Now, if we go on a date and we're talking about like what our worst past relationship was, and we talk about it, and then we're on to the next subject 2 minutes later, and that's it, and you don't have any emotion, it doesn't look like you're harboring any emotions toward that person or harboring any negativity towards that person, it's cool. It seems as though you are healed. We get into the habit of working with people who are unhealed. Do not. It doesn't matter if you're a life coach, a business coach. It doesn't matter if you're just a one stop consultant. It doesn't matter if you're a CPA. It doesn't matter if you are a social media manager, a virtual assistant, a stylist, if you're in business operations, sales funnel builder. I don't care what you are. Do not work with unhealed clients. People have unhealed relationships with unhealed with coaching. Let me make that specific. Because if you are a life coach, you're going to work with clients who need help healing. Actually, let's back up. No. Legally, if somebody is dealing with issues from the past that is unhealed, that person should be seeing a therapist. Life coaching is about dealing with people who are healed and ready to move forward, and how you help them create boundaries that are going to keep them out of that place. That's a whole nother lie. So, like I said, do not work with clients that have unhealed relationships with past service providers or past coaches or past clientele. Past guidance. If they have unhealed relationship with past coaches and there's no closure there, they are going to bring that mess and bring that energy into y'all's relationship. And it's going to be not good. It's just like having a regular relationship. It's going to be not good. They're going to take everything that they never said to that person and everything that they never did to that person, and they're going to do it to you. It literally just happened to me. I did a VIP service. I did the whole service and got a chargeback. Not no little bitty chargeback, and I don't get chargebacks like that. Not no little bitty chargeback, big old chargeback. And the work was already done, and my employees were already paid. And it is because I accepted a client that did not have a healed relationship with their previous service provider. So they took everything they wanted to do to that person and they put it on me. Okay. So it does happen sometimes. It does happen sometimes. All right, this is going to be my last question because we're on 47 minutes and that's really long for YouTube. I am going to save this live stream so you guys can go back and watch it if you want to. It's going to be public. You can share it, send it to your friends, all that good stuff. Laura says, what's a good default statement to get out of it? If I know it's somebody who's not a good fit or they're red flag or they've already paid and then they're showing red flags and I'm like ready to give them their money back, I literally just send them a generic like, hey, after thoughtful consideration, I don't feel as though we are a good fit for each other. That's really it. Sometimes I'll say like, it depends though. That's really like my general statement. After thoughtful consideration, I don't feel as though we're a good fit for each other. Thank you for your time. If you're going to send them a refund, you could say, I just processed your refund. And then I send them, I attach a screenshot of like the refund ID or whatever. Because if I feel like if they've already paid and I don't want to work with them, I process the refund first and then I send an email like literally minutes later. I don't want to send the email and then they come back and they're like, oh, but please, can we work together? Like, I'm really ready, blah, 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 blah. I don't understand, blah, blah, blah. I process the refund because once the refund's processed, it's like the money's in limbo and we can't do anything. So I do that. But I just let them know, hey, we're not a good fit. I don't go into detail about why we're not a good fit unless they filled out an application and there's something very specific that they don't have. So like, for example, I normally don't do VIP services for somebody who doesn't have a website. Every time I've done a VIP service or any type of done for you service for somebody who doesn't have a website, it like ends up like not, they either don't use what I've done or there's just too much work to do. Like it's not it, right? So let's say they fill out the application, they don't have a website. I'll send that generic message and then I'll add to it and say, it's because you indicated that you don't have a website. So what I suggest is building your website on this platform based off of what you said. Here's a link to some helpful videos of theirs. So I do give them a little bit more, like a link to a free tool or a link to a free resource or a blog post or something that's going to help them if it's something specific. But if it's something emotional, then I'm just like, because you don't want to get into having a conversation about why you think they're not emotionally ready, because then it becomes like a back and forth of like you become a therapist, and I'm not licensed for that. Like I couldn't help you if I wanted to because I would tell you the wrong stuff and it's not going to help you. And it's the same thing unless you're watching this and you are a licensed therapist, you're welcome to tell them why, right? But you probably don't want to have that conversation. You probably want to have a conversation. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm going to leave this up on my YouTube channel. Feel free to browse around my channel. There are also other free videos here, and I'm going to teach a couple more classes here on live as we close out the year. Thanks so much, y'all. See y'all later.